Thanks a lot. Once again, my name is Damion Heredia. I run the product side, product management design for Bluemix. This is Ram Vennam, who is a dev advocate for Bluemix. We have two demonstrations prepped for you today. I'm going to use a couple slides to introduce them, and then we'll get right into the product. The first is when we started with Bluemix, we had actually designed, and started developing all three deployment options of Bluemix. Platform or service delivered in the shared public cloud, a cloned version just for you we call dedicated, so you can have isolation from network storage to the compute, and then a local version, as Steve put it, which is cloud comes to you, where we deliver the Bluemix experience of cloud, but on your infrastructure behind your firewall. Now, to do that, we had several decisions to make, because what everyone loves about Bluemix is how easy it is to get going, the experience in cloud, the enterprise grade capabilities, the ability that it's always updated with the latest Cloud Foundry versions and build packs and service APIs, but people wanted certain services behind the firewall as well to do a true hybrid experience. So we had to do some innovation around that, and what we came up with is what we brand Relay. It's our ability to connect to that system for monitoring system upgrades and pushing updates to you to choose when they should be deployed. It's our way of metering and monitoring the system and understanding the development activities to build one application, but across public, dedicated, and local. So what I'll do today is show you the operations side, the admin console side of Bluemix Local, which is a way for you to get governance and insight and transparency into what's running on your infrastructure, but in a sense of being deployed as one hybrid cloud experience. So let me jump over to the machine over here. If we could turn over to the laptop, there we go. So when logged into the Blue Bank, which is our fictional company today, admin console for Bluemix Local, you can see it has several sections ranging from usage to organization to system information. I'm going to start with the first, which is usage. And so as an operator, I would come in here, and we've provided complete transparency of how we run our clouds, but now on your infrastructure, memory, disk utilization, CPU utilization. You can scroll down for network usage, response times. All this is available to your admins and operators within your IT department. Now, if I come back and included in that is our ability to manage users and the quotas that they're using, what capacity and how much gigabytes of memory they're consuming, and you can move that capacity around to different organizations based on your needs. These are all part of the administrative side of things of Bluemix Local. So we have that capability. We've also, one of the big things we had to innovate around is how to push updates. You know, for public and dedicated, they're on our data centers. We update them constantly with the latest versions of the software, both from us and open source packages that we're running for you. But on Bluemix Local, we needed a different way to engage the company and the enterprise to be able to deliver updates when they wanted it in a time frame that was consistent with their policies. So you can see here at the top, I can go in and look at updates that we've pushed as IBM through the relay down to the Bluemix Local environment and that are scheduled to be updated at the time the company has decided. In fact, here's a new one that's ready that is an update for a Node.js build pack. So we update that as new technologies come out. We've pushed it to Bluemix Local. Now it's available to the admin to schedule a particular date range, or you can actually set unavailability dates. So here's a blackout period. Now, obviously with the holiday season coming up, I could say that I want to block out the entire week of Thanksgiving, including Black Friday and the Sunday, Monday before. What you can do is set this range is where the update cannot be applied. Then I can scroll down and submit those dates. You can also approve the update, and then it will be scheduled to be applied when it's not blacked out. You can look at the history, so you can see everything that is from an audit trails perspective that's been applied to this system as administrator and see exactly what happened when. You can test them in your test environments first and then roll them to production. If we go back out to the front of the console screen, the last thing we innovated around is catalog management. As you saw Steve scroll through the catalog, there are over 100 services available in Bluemix. Those are API, discrete atomic services ranging from runtimes to Watson API services with cognitive intelligence, to mobile, to DevOps, web, integration, data, etc. And certain services have badging on them that says that these are now installed and running locally behind your firewall on Bluemix Local, versus ones that are maybe running dedicated or in public. Now, what you can do with this admin console is you can manipulate which ones are shown to your developers. So you can choose which products are shown to them, also which service plans. And you can see disabled ones because they're grayed out. So for purposes, we've disabled Hadoop, which would not show to your developers. But if I click on, let's say, IBM DB2 for cloud, I can see that there's quite a few plans available for developers to use, but I made to choose that the most expensive plan, the largest production plan, is only enabled for a particular group. Let's just choose the Ops Center, so that only a certain group can deploy that high-end DB2 machine. And then you can save that. Oops, excuse me. And then it would manipulate the catalog on the developer side so they only see what you want to roll out. So it's a great experience for a developer to get engaged and really customize that experience for the developer as they build hybrid apps. Now, this is the operator side. I'm going to hand it over to Ram, and we're going to show the development side of things and how you build a hybrid application. So if we can go back to the PowerPoint for a second. We're going to use today an example from a banking FinServe example. The fictitious company, Bluebank. And this is a very common example where you have a mobile application, in this case, a customer loyalty app that you want to engage your users with that has services in the cloud, mobile push, perhaps a Watson Personality Insights service, things that you want to use from the cloud, but you need to run the data and the runtime behind the firewall. So you run that on Bluemix Local. So it's a true hybrid application, managed as one, deployed as one, developed as one, but there are parts of it that are running behind the firewall versus in the cloud. So Ram, why don't you take us through it?
Sure. Brian, can you switch to my phone and the computer? I'm waiting for my phone. It's okay. But back up. I did.
Why don't you just show the console side?
Sure. This just only take a second. It's not what I want. There we go. Okay, so Bluebank built two applications using Bluemix. On the left, there's a mobile application on Bluemix Public, and this mobile application is for their customers to manage their loyalty points, maybe redeem them, buy airline tickets, etc. The second application is an internal web application, runs on Bluemix Local. So let's take a look at each of these apps. So jump into my phone here. I'll launch the mobile application. It says I have 42,000 points here, but 10,000 of my points have already expired. Well, I mean, that's frustrating. So like, I see a place where I can share some feedback. So let's do that. I'll click share feedback, and then, I'll type up my angry feedback, say it's already expired, this is ridiculous, and click share feedback. So this feedback gets routed through Bluemix Public to the Bluebank's data centers using Secure Gateway. So next, Bluebank has to deal with all this incoming feedback. So they can use Bluemix Local to quickly spin up an application to do that. So I'll jump to that, I'll click Create App, do SDK for Node, continue. What do I want to call it? I'll call it Feedback Manager. Click Finish. So Bluemix is creating a Node.js container inside the Bluebank's firewall that's going to have my Node.js application. While it's doing that, let's look at the catalog and start consuming some of these services. Notice that some of these services have a little badge on the top. That indicates that this is a locally hosted service. Others are syndicated to me through the public catalog. I see a bunch of Watson APIs here, like this one says language translation, so I'll grab that service. because I'll need to translate any feedback coming in from a different language. Click Use. Next, I'll need to connect to Bluebank's existing systems. So in this case, they had a business rules service that can recommend the number of points to award an angry or disgruntled customer. In this case, what I did, I used Bluemix's API management to create a new REST custom API and expose that service to Bluemix as a custom API. So it's shown here. So I'll grab this as well as a couple of other services. So my final dashboard looks something like this. So here's my Node.js app. I binded the award recommendation service, language translation, tone analyzer, as well as personality insights. So next, I can just download the starter code and make some changes locally using my favorite editor and just push the code back to Bluemix. For the sake of time, let's jump to a live running application. So here it is. So here's the app that I just created. Along with the feedback, I can also see all the customers' like net worth, their banking status, and if I refresh, I should see the new feedback that just came in. You'll notice that because this is running inside Bluemix Local, I don't have to worry about any of this data leaving the company firewall. I'm also using the Watson services to translate any feedback, as well as categorize it, analyze that feedback, and categorize it as cheerful, negative, or angry. So without even reading this new feedback, I can tell that I have an angry customer, and I can take action quickly. So I'll click Award. This is calling that custom award recommendation API, and it's coming back. It says award this customer 10,000 points. I can type up a message over here. It says, sorry for your troubles, and click Send. This action takes advantage of the Bluemix mobile push services to send a notification to the customer. So if I jump to my phone, to see I just got a push notification on my phone. So just to summarize, Bluebank created applications that span across local and public. They use the syndicated catalog to consume services, consume public services like Watson, as well as integrate with their existing systems to create a solution that spans the entire environment.
Great.
David?
Thanks, Ram. So the big takeaway for us is we've delivered what we feel is the most innovative hybrid solution in the market, ability to deliver both from the public dedicated through the local environment for you to run your applications in the cloud. Now, to continue the story, we're going to have one of our customers up, a local NYC customer, come and share their story. So Active Modus and Prashant Bhuyan, who's over here in the corner, come on up and share your story. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to be with you today to talk to you about how we're using Bluemix to find alpha in unstructured data. 4 years ago, I was down on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and I was talking to a bunch of floor brokers about market on-close imbalance orders. And they were telling me about how they disseminate these orders informally to clients all throughout the day, as early indications were very popular. So I was very curious to know whether or not these early imbalance indications had any sort of predictive value. So we teamed up with a few of the floor brokers, and we built a voice recognition-based data capture system and started to collect and analyze the data. It was very surprising to find that those early imbalance indications were partially predictive of market direction into the close. But the more interesting revelation that I had, was that you could actually find alpha in unstructured data. Around that time, I remember watching Watson beat Jeopardy champions on television, and I thought to myself, my imagination was really captured, and I really thought to myself, what if we could actually apply those types of technologies to analyze unstructured data in scale to predict markets? So we created Modus as an investment technology company founded in 2014 to find alpha in unstructured data and for the bigger purpose of repricing investment advice. So before I go on, let's talk a little bit about alpha, because I'm not sure if everybody here really understands what that is. Formally defined, alpha is just risk-adjusted return in excess of a benchmark. But the way you can think about it is like this. Imagine the S&P 500 returns 8% a year. And imagine your investment advisor also returns about 8% a year on your life savings. Now imagine 1 year the S&P 500 tanks and is down 50%. But you've still earned 8% that year from your investment advisor. He'd probably be like your best friend, right? I mean, you would be happy to pay him fees because he was insulating your investment from market volatility. All investors want to compound returns and be insulated from market volatility. The problem is many professional investment advisors are having trouble generating alpha. Alpha is the skill it takes to insulate an investment from market volatility. We analyzed over 7,500 equity long-short hedge funds and their performance over the last 3 years. And we found that not only did they underperform the benchmark S&P 500, but they actually produced a negative alpha and returns that were highly correlated to the benchmark in the broader market. In other words, they were charging and collecting fees from investors that were disproportionate to the amount of alpha they were generating. We believe that investors should only pay for alpha and nothing else. So why is generating alpha so difficult for many of these professional fund managers? IBM's famous quote, "Every day we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data, so much that 90% of the data in the world has been created in the last 2 years alone." The reason that many traditional asset managers aren't able to generate alpha is because there's too much noise. Too many factors are affecting asset prices for traditional methods to be effective. Alpha generation has become a complicated, unstructured data problem that requires creativity to solve. And the power of Bluemix is that it allows us to experiment with new ideas and look for new innovative ways to generate alpha, ask more sophisticated questions with incredible time and cost efficiency. For example, we can ask better questions now. So we've been using Bluemix and Tweet Insights to analyze hundreds of millions of tweets in real time and try to see how they relate to our early imbalance indications from the earlier example. And we found that tweet sentiment, in addition to volatility and volume, actually help us determine when early imbalance indications are most likely to have a major impact in the markets. So for example, on September 17th, the Federal Reserve announced at about 2 p.m. that they would leave rates unchanged. That caused US equities to soar initially, and there was a spike in tweet volume for early look component stocks. Early look is what we call our imbalance meter, or imbalance product. There was a strong sell generated at around 3 p.m., and the market reversed sharply, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell about 500 points over the next hour and then through the next day. It was pretty staggering. So this is an example of one of our other alpha products. It's what we call the Pure Alpha Mod. It's an algorithmic trading strategy that's completely insulated from market volatility, and it was created explicitly through the use of collective and machine intelligence. You can see the smooth curve here is the performance curve of our Pure Alpha strategy, and the jagged curve is our S&P 500 benchmark. And you'll see right here that we remain unaffected and independent versus the benchmark. The amazing thing about this is that typically these types of strategies are closed to all but a few very sophisticated and very powerful quantitative investment funds. And we offer this as a turnkey solution replete with high-performance infrastructure to asset managers for a fraction of the price. So where are we going? Artificial intelligence is reinvesting asset management. And I believe that we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with our IBM collaboration. In fact, we have a whole pipeline of new products that are leveraging Bluemix and IBM's cognitive computing capability. In fact, just yesterday, we had a A lot of developers turn out in New York City to help us hack Alpha, to try to find answers and solutions to complicated unstructured data problems that we think could lead to alpha generation. And this is us with some of the winners. They won these very cool drones. They use APIs such as personality insights, concept expansion, tweet insights, and geocoding to come up with some pretty amazing prototypes, given that it was a one-day hackathon. We plan to do many more of these into the future. Oh, let me just go back real quick. So asset management is evolving, and the key insight is that the data revolution isn't really about data. It's about intelligence. And we intend to leverage Bluemix in our collaboration with IBM as much as possible to make a dent in the $102 trillion asset management industry. And before I leave the stage, I'd like to give a shout out to Bruce Weed and the New York team that has been instrumental in helping us get some of these prototypes and products to market. So thank you, Bruce. And I'd like to introduce Rachel, who is the CTO of Bluemix Garage. Thank you.